Hello and welcome to 5 Habits of. Today we are joined by the brilliant AD Howes, and he is going to talk to us about his 5 habits of building brilliant communities. Hello AD, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. Very impressive intro, I have to say. That's very digital. I like that.
Thank you very much. Lots
I've
of
got
tinkering
intro
installations.
envy.
Yeah, well, I can make you one. I'll put it in the post.
Thank you.
AD, could you tell us just a little bit about who you are and why we should be interested in what you've got to say about building communities?
Oh, nice. Okay. So my name's AD. I help trainers and coaches to put their knowledge online, predominantly in online courses, communities, resources, events, knowledge bases, and the list goes on. And that's what I do. There's so many people with fascinating knowledge that they want to package up and put online and turn that into revenue. And that's what I help people to do. Communities are a big part of that. So it's not just about the online course. Online courses on their own are very kind of isolated experience, but a lot of learning, probably more than happens inside a course, some would argue, happens inside a community. And a community is something that you have to hold and love and nurture. And there's some habits to form around that, definitely.
No, brilliant. Well, that's why we're here. And as it's a Friday and it's lunchtime, we like to get into this quite quickly. So what is habit number 1 we should be thinking about?
So habit number 1 is talking about the value of your community. So communities are kind of like a secret dark place where what actually happens inside. And sometimes what you have to do is just kind of let some of the stuff out of the castle into the outdoor world and just kind of let people know about the sorts of things that go on in there and what the value of the community is. People aren't really bothered about whether it's a course or a community or a this, that, and the other. What they're ultimately bothered in is, what is this going to help me to achieve? What problems is this going to help me to solve? So sharing outside the stuff that goes on the inside is a really good thing to do. An example of that, I had a live group session the other day inside my community, and the stuff that we're learning about there was really valuable. So what I did is just kind of shared some of that with the outside world as well. And you know what? That's kind of attracted more people to wanting to kind of come onto the inside world with me. Habit number 1, talk about the value of your community, outside of your community. And probably inside as well, actually, just to keep members retained in terms of what they're there to do.
I suppose that really matters in terms of finding the right people, because actually a community is only as strong as the people you bring into it. And it's about finding those people that are aligned with where your community is going, and not bringing in those people that are going to derail it. They've got ulterior motives. The people that come in to sell within communities. It's like keeping an eye out for people like that.
This is it, yeah. I mean, there's kind of, I don't know what I should say, but there's some criteria of having people inside a community. And, one of my rules is kind of, I don't want any people that are dicks in there. You know what I mean? I want people that are nice to work with and decent to get on. There's enough people in the world not to have kind of the stress of, unwanted visitors or whatever. But, it's not about kind of throwing the doors open wide and, getting a thing filled up. I have decent experiences in communities of 3 or 4 or 5 people. It's not about the numbers at all. You're 100% right. It's about the people that are in it and the purpose that they're there for, really, the shared goal.
Nice. I love it. And with that in mind, what is habit number 2? What's the second one we should be thinking about?
So the next thing is, communities are like the pet that you've got to look after, right? And this is a mountain that you climb one step at a time. So it's not about the numbers and things like that. It's about the interactions and the engagements and things like that. And there's a habit to be formed around, looking after that. It's consistently, I guess, planning and unplanning. So what do we mean by that? A community is like kind of going to the gym. It's something that you have to show up for on a regular basis in order to get the results on the good days and the bad days as well. There's content to kind of get out there. There's kind of inspiration to have. There's conversations to kind of, you need to be kind of the Pied Piper, if you like, or the person that bangs the drum and gets that engagement going. So, having a plan at least to recognize, when am I going to spend time on this? What days of the week, what hours of the day? Is it going to be kind of a weekly thing that I sit down and look after? If I'm running live sessions, when are they going to be? And it's having that plan, but also having the unplan as well. You can't plan out human engagement, can you? It just happens. So having enough in there to be able to roll with the punches as well, and kind of rock with what the conversation is doing at the time in the community. Great example of that in my own community. We were having a discussion yesterday about some stuff, and my typical format for a live session inside my groups is we do a tutorial on a topic. It might be technical, it might be something else related to kind of turning knowledge online, and then we have a Q&A session. And the tutorial is either something that's born out of something that the group's asked for, or sometimes it's something off my pick list, if you like. I really want to help the group with. And yesterday it was something off my pick list that I was dead excited, because it was a really good session that actually helped unlock people move forward, actually with video production. That's what my chosen topic was yesterday. But the few that were with us in that session actually had some other things that were more pressing issues for them. So rather than go down my prescriptive route, it was nice to be able to go with the flow of just what they needed in that moment, because that's my job, is to help people out in the moment that they need it. Their agenda, not mine. So yeah, planning, but also unplanning as well, and going with the flow.
Nice, I love that. And I think that requires some sort of humility in terms of, you are the keeper of the course. But actually, if the need is something else, they don't care about that session that you've spent 3 days building to deliver. That they've got a different demand that wants their time. And if that's what you've agreed to help them with, it's about how you can do that for them in a really authentic way that actually helps build that community and builds that trust in what you're doing.
This is it. Yeah. Delivered. A big mug of tea has just arrived. Check that from a daughter. Look at that.
Very good, very good. We all need. Well, I need coffee. If you're a tea, I'll let you off. That's the first. That's crossing the box, AD. I thought you were doing quite well up until that point.
Well, here's the thing: we were on some training together last night, if you remember, and you did see, and it was commented on the chocolate digestives that I was munching through on they all sat over there, and I just know that. Come on, we need to get through this, and then I'm going to dunk a big biscuit in that mug.
Nice. Cool. Awesome. Okay, so it's not going to be long. We're on coming up to habit number 3, and these next three are the real bangers. So people need to stay on, keep watching, and really help understand what they can do in their community. So what is this third habit that we need to think about?
Well, it's good that people have stayed on for this, because this is kind of, an underestimated thing about communities. We think about communities as a big group of people, and we forget about the fact that inside that community, there's some individuals. Now, okay, if you're managing a community of thousands of people like I've been involved in, it's very difficult to kind of engage with each individual. One of my clients has a community of about 300 or 400 people, and between him and his coaches, they manage to engage with individuals on a weekly basis. They do really well. Now, I'm not saying, this is phone calls, conversations, and this, that, and the other, but recognizing that inside a community, it's made up of lots of individuals. So make sure you connect with those individuals. Make sure you find a way of engaging with them on a one-to-one level, even that, a text message or a comment on something they've put in a community. Sometimes jump on the phone if you want to, or on a Zoom call or an online meeting with your members, and just connect with them individually and just see how things are going. Now, online within a community isn't always kind of like a low ticket price thing anyway. A lot of people think about communities being something you subscribe to, and it's a $5 a month or a $10 a month or whatever. There are communities that you subscribe to that are a lot higher price, and sometimes what you get as part of that higher ticket thing is that one-to-one engagement. So for example, at the moment, I am offering a group program that lasts for 6 months, and it helps guide people through the ideas, the planning, building, launching, and growing of an online platform to put their knowledge online. And, as part of that, I am putting in some one-to-one time as well, some strategical kind of one-to-one time with me that's experienced with the tech that can help go, right, here's your ideas. I know about the tech. Let's put our heads together and strategically figure out what the next 6 months will look like. And then people work together with me for 6 months. And it's, it's not expensive to do that, but then to have that one-to-one time thrown in with that all of a sudden makes it really valuable. So the community bit, and the reason that's important is, well, I'll come on to that actually in habit number 4. I think I'll steal the limelight if I do that. But
Okay.
It's really important to focus on those individual things, because those are really, that's your target audience, right? And those are the people that you're solving problems for. Be that helping them get better at writing, or helping them be more confident with writing, or it could be, helping them to use a bit of tech better, or it could be, how to market a service, whatever it is. Those are the people that you're helping. And those are the people in your target market that you're then going to need to go and attract into your community. So those individual interactions really important for understanding, how your community is landing.
Nice, I love it. Okay, so what you're saying is it's about building those one-to-one connections and serving people where you can. Is there a danger with this though? If you're thinking community, do you have to make sure you know where your line is beyond like your higher one-to-one rate? So a community is more of an accessible fee quite often. So there is that over serving and over committing. Is that what do you think about that? How do you manage that?
Yeah, I think you have to manage that very, very carefully. And you're right, that one-to-one time is, well, it needs to be expensive, and you need to charge for that, really. Is it L'Oreal that said you're worth it, baby? That's your premium time. And the reason it is because that's not scalable. There's only one of you, and if you're doing one-to-one, that's it. That's the ceiling, isn't it? But that one-to-many approach, that's kind of a different kettle of fish, isn't it? You can scale that, and you can give more into that. When I started, in fact, my group is just growing now, because for so long I've worked with people on a one-to-one basis, either, project coaching, whatever it is, done for you, done with you, whatever, one-to-one, kind of one piece. But now, and especially as my app's grown and I've got my community there and things like that, I can now scale my offering so that I'm helping more people. And ultimately that brings the price down. And that kind of makes it more accessible to people. And actually bringing your prices down at the moment is kind of a good thing. If you can make yourself more accessible to more people, then you spread the cost of your time, don't you? Between a higher number. So that's good. So yes, you're right. You have to protect the premium time, and you have to be careful with that. And you have to be careful about, like you say, over-promising, that sort of thing. And it is okay to not have that at all. It is okay to, just have that group interaction, be that recorded or live, whatever you're doing, whether it's a course or a community or a live Q&A that you then record and package into a course, whatever it is. Yes, you can kind of stick to that and not have people and their proximity too close to you. You can still do things like sending them a personal email, and asking for their feedback, or, just a little check-in. And, even if you don't want to promise that at point of entry and point of onboarding, that is something that you can throw in as a nice little bonus.
Nice. Yeah. So it's about finding that balance, but making sure that there is that, whatever it means for you in your community, there is that personal connection, whether it's a DM, a message, or some longer time for those sort of more premium communities.
Yeah.
Okay.
People in my community at the minute are absolutely loving it, because it is growing. So they're getting loads of love. And there was a period of time when actually there was just 3 of us in there, and we're kind of having great conversations, learning from each other as a group, but then individually doing one-to-one time with people on their business, their strategy, and that sort of stuff as an added bonus. and that was part of it. That's why they joined early, is because, oh my God, it's an early bird price. And then on top of that, you're just going to kind of once in a while drop me a message and say, you know what, should we jump on a call together and get some shit done? And that's how it goes. And it's that bit of it's working really well. But protect it, don't overpromise it, use it as a nice little kind of bonus that you can add in for people. Or, if you want to go nuts and crazy, go in for those higher ticket prices and include it as standard. You know what I mean? There's lots to play about with, definitely.
Cool. Yeah. And I suppose, and there is that, what size community should you go into? Because there are lots of people starting out growing communities, and actually you probably get more for your money than you would at a full maturity. So if someone's aiming for a community of 100 people and there's 10 in there, actually you're going to get more one-to-one time depending on what the sessions are going on, just because they can't serve it. There's no one else to service. So when you pick a community and when you're trying to find somewhere to go, is that community now at saturation and really I think we could have a whole conversation about at what size should you do what in what community, but that's not this call. So we have 2 more habits to think about. So what is the 4th habit that we should be thinking about?
4th habit lines in really nicely, and it's the one that I nearly kind of trampled all over because it lines into the previous one. I was talking about individual contributions, individual connections, be that, an email or whatever, connecting with individual people. The reason for that is now leading us nicely into habit number 4, which is about spotlighting stories. So stories are literally kind of, what inspires people. And these are the bits that we need to be kind of sharing. So in your individual interactions, or at least kind of in your observations of individuals that sit within your group, look out for the stories. Look out for the stories where people are solving those problems, whether it's the big problems or even the little tiny problems, the little tiny wins that they're getting. Are big stories that you can kind of use to highlight to the group, but also kind of use in your general kind of, attracting people into that community, looking for these wins you and I are in a community together, right? And we do loads of good stuff in there, and we have a wins channel, don't we? And of all the people that are in the group, there's all sorts that goes in these little moments of celebration, and it's not always that money stuff or anything like that. It can be anything really that kind of goes into that channel that's progress, and that inspires us, motivates us, and moves us forward. So having a place where people can talk about the good shit that they're doing, the thing that they've moved forward with, or the bit that they've created, or the light bulb moment that they've had, however big or small, that will inspire other people in the community. It's good shit to celebrate. It fluffs your feathers up because you can see that your work is having purpose and things like that. And it's also, back to habit number 1 about talking about the value of your community. These stories that you're collecting inside are really, really good to put into the outside world. Like really good.
Yeah.
That stuff gets people, noticing, definitely.
Absolutely. And there's actually there's a term for this. It's called vicarious experience.
Ooh, nice.
There's a funny. The reason why I know this is way back when I was in school. It gets taught as part of your A-level P or whatever. And I remember it because the teacher taught us, said, you can remember vicarious experience because if you remember it as a vicar's experience, you are not a vicar. So it's somebody else's experience. But actually looking at somebody else doing the thing that you're trying to do helps you be more successful.
Sure.
So it really is that by focusing on other people and other people seeing success with the tools that you've put out there, allows people to see it's possible. And when people see the possibility of what you're putting in front of them, that is when it becomes much more exciting and much more real. So that's a really important one. I love that.
Yeah. Well, it's that peer-to-peer learning as well, isn't it? Isn't it true? I'm sorry, teachers, but inside your classrooms, there's probably a lot of learning going on from peer-to-peer. You know what I mean? It's not always about the sage on the stage, really. So getting these stories, getting people talking about them, sharing them, in a place where it's okay to do that, because I think the reason that works so well is everybody's got the same pain points in a community. So when people see people moving on past their pain points, it's like, yeah, shit, come on, I love that, because I've felt that for myself. I know what that feels like. You know, because we're all in this kind of together. We're all, you know, that shared goal, that shared purpose, and stuff like that. So your story actually, you know, doesn't just, you know, it impacts in a big way. It impacts emotionally, actually. It impacts emotionally sometimes, you know, depending on what topic it is we're talking about. But some things, you know, people have so little confidence in, you know, that actually kind of seeing somebody else's win is really encouraging, because they're like, oh, you know, that is possible for me too, you know, and onwards and upwards we go. So much value in a community.
Yeah. And actually, before we go on to the last comment, there's some the last habit. There's some comments as well that we could probably dive into as well.
Oh, nice.
So nice. Yeah. So actually, I think this one probably goes to one.
Sorry, I was too busy looking at you. Sorry.
Yeah, I was too busy. I was too busy. And this one that sounds like establishing community guidelines is probably that second point we were talking about earlier, wasn't it? It was the one about making sure that you are leaving room for the magic. And we were talking about bringing the right people in for that to happen, and making sure that people know what to expect and when they're actually when people are expected to contribute. Because one of the hardest things with running those group calls is the silence.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
People not knowing that actually they add to the community by giving their perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably not morning. Oh, someone's just saying hello. Hello, AC.
What do I from AC?
Yeah.
I have a nightmare kind of scheduling things around people around the world. That's why I go for a middle of the afternoon thing. It's kind of all time zones out.
Yeah, and this person's put, I'm still surveying my new folks in my community about what they need. FYI, my own community is still very small. But this
three
is what
people is a community, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Three people is a community. Doesn't matter the size of it. It's the conversation value that happens inside. I used to manage a community of 10,000 people, and you wouldn't believe how few people kind of interacted with, like, the weekly email that was sent out, or the just generally the traffic through the day. 10,000 people is quite a small interaction, really. So it's not the number that counts. It's the conversations that deliver the punch.
Absolutely, yeah, and it is, and I definitely think there's a trade-off for getting those small communities that there is that tie to conversation, and then those subgroups that build out as well. Really,
start small, plant seeds, good shit grows.
Good shit grows. Yeah,
water it.
Yeah,
Colorado.
Colorado. Yeah, Colorado. I think this is my first stateside visitor. Thank you very much, AC, for joining us. And the other mysterious person. This is great stuff. I'm not new to mentoring, but I'm in a position where I need to find my own one-to-many options. Mysterious LinkedIn user, drop me a line. We can point you in the direction of a very good community. Drop us a line, and we can do something for you there. So, with all that in mind, AD, what is the final habit we should be thinking about?
I love those questions. Thank you, people. And have we got time for more? Maybe not. Right.
Yeah, we have. Keep them coming. We have time. Keep them coming. Let's keep rolling.
I'm all right for the rest of the day, to be fair. I'll do this all day. Right. Encourage peer-to-peer connections is the next habit that I wanted to talk about. I've just had to glance down at that because I got distracted by the comment. Peer-to-peer connections are good things to encourage. There was mention in the comments there about community guidelines. Up to you how you deal with that. Inside my kind of premium community, everybody that's in there has spoken to me personally. So that's the process that I go through. That's not for everybody. You don't have to do that. But as part of my joining thing, it's not a click to buy. There's a conversation. We need to make sure that we're the right fit. And, this is the right community for you, and it's the right purpose. And, secretly I'm checking they're not a date, but and that sort of stuff. But the peer-to-peer connections within that kind of rely on having a place of trust. You know what I mean? And because you're in a space where everybody's in there, there's some guidelines there, you trust that everybody's adult and things like that. In most communities, you've got tools to be able to boot them out anyway, and get rid of content and stuff like that. You're then in a place where you can connect people peer to peer, and that's wonderful. The moment kind of a couple of people, so like the community that we're a part of, a bit like my clients' community, actually, those people in his community are on a journey to lose weight and build muscle.
Nice.
You know, and when people join that community, a bit like the you know, the community that you and I are in, we're in a Slack channel, aren't we? When people arrive, it's, hey, Michael's joined, and it's a bit of a celebration. All of a sudden, people go, hey, Michael, it's all right. And depending on the vibe inside that community, you know, you're welcomed into the fold, aren't you? And you know, when you're on the receiving end of that, it's like, oh my God, what have I just joined? But how lovely! What a lovely introduction. You know, and connecting people with each other inside the community happens organically. You know, people just do that themselves, but sometimes the community person, it's nice to facilitate that. I joined a different community yesterday, the L&D Free Spirits community for learning and development professionals. And, you know, again, I'm straight into kind of a channel where people are saying hello and things like that. And, you know, somebody introduced me to somebody else, you know, that was actually really helpful. You know, it was a good connection. So that would be my fourth thing, is just to encourage that, you know, you've got that one-to-many relationship, but see what you can get going on in the ranks as well, and encourage that peer-to-peer collaboration, connection, and conversation as well.
Yeah, and that's important. So in my community, Productivity Pod, it's about, one of the things I ask people to do is make sure that they have got people that are on the journey with them. You need about 6 people that are driving in the same direction as you. It might not be the community you're necessarily in, but people in your network as well. So it might be people, your family, your friends, the people you work with, that know what you're doing and are there encouraging you along. Because having those people helping you, no one can do it on their own. It is not possible. And actually, the community we're in, I'm about to leave. I'm going to go off and find another one to help me on this journey. And it's about finding people that are going, sad times. However, I know I need to mix it up. I think I've got everything I can out of this one. And that's really important as well, is actually knowing when you need something different. Again, this is my geeky bit about the other habits you've got now, right, for what you need. What I needed when I joined the community, I've gone through, and I've learned the things, and I've got it. So I now need to go somewhere else. I'm not quite sure where yet, but I know I need something else. So it's about that, and it's about making it. And it's about making it sure you can have people around you, whether it's the one-to-ones in the community you're in, especially if it's a new space, or that those people that exist in your life. And sometimes you have to get rid of people, right? Let's be real. Sometimes there's people in your world that don't actually serve the direction that you want to go in anymore. And actually, it's about finding those people.
I see it in my head as like different circles, you know, and sometimes those circles overlap, right? You know, sometimes you're in this community and that community together, and they overlap. You know, you know each other because you're in the dads that go to the school run, you know, circle, but then equally you might be in another circle that kind of overlaps with that, and you're both part of the same, and you've got different people in each group, some common ground and that sort of stuff. And that's the same in business, isn't it? It's like, you know, you've moved into a circle that served its purpose for you. You know, you've met some other people, you've developed some new skills, some new knowledge, that sort of stuff. That's been able to help you kind of help your clients even more, hasn't it? Get better results for them in the work that you do. You know, and that's it. And you'll stay connected to some of that circle, maybe, and you'll find another kind of patch to be in, and that'll be it. And so it goes on. You know, this is how our next networks expand, and you know how our development occurs. A lot, like I say, a lot happens in a community, and here we are. You know, also inside that program, there's a lot of online courses and things like that of huge value. But here we are talking about the community bit as being the bit that's like really precious to us. And mate, it's been a pleasure to meet you. It's been a pleasure to do this today as well. And I know that we'll stay in touch when you move about into other spaces.
Absolutely. It has been a pleasure having you. Before we say goodbye, could you recap those 5 habits for me? So I'll give you a second to get your thoughts together. So habit number 1?
Habit number 1 was talking about the value of your community, talking about what people get on the outside, sharing the inside out.
Nice. Habit number 2?
Habit number 2 was about that consistent approach and planning and unplanning. So having that approach of just like going to the gym, this is even on the bad days, you need to show up and just keep banging that drum.
Nice. Habit number 3?
Habit number 3 was, just thinking about the concept that inside that community is individual people. So have individual conversations was habit number 3.
Habit number 4.
Spotlight stories. So really kind of show off those stories, again, inside and outside the community. These are the results, the little wins or the big wins that people are getting that you need to be talking about to drive engagement and attract more people in.
And that final habit number 5.
The peer-to-peer connections was number 5. So, having that relationship with your community, but encouraging lots of relationship and connection, collaboration within the ranks as well.
Brilliant. Adi, it has been a pleasure. Now, if people want to work with you, I know I've got a little URL here. Where can they find you, and what do they need to know if they want to know more about how you can help them and their community?
Well, thank you. Thank you. There's an address on the screen there. The first part of it is where to go and work with me. But I'd like you to go to the full address of that. This is a free masterclass that I ran earlier in the week, and it's really to help. It was designed to help people move forward with the idea of putting their knowledge online. Most business owners are stuck. They're overwhelmed. They don't know where to start. They don't know about the tech. They just don't know how to move forward. A little bit anxious and that sort of stuff. And that masterclass was put out there free to help people move forward with that sort of stuff. And the best bit about it is I included some tools in there that help people to create some revenue generating ideas. So when you go to that link, you can sign up free. It looks like this. It's on the screen behind me. Click the orange button and that will allow you to sign up free, and you'll get access to an online course that gives you some bonus stuff, access to the recording of that masterclass, and also the tools that help you to generate some revenue generating ideas very quickly. They're very good. And as a result of all that, people can jump on a call with me free, and I will talk through their strategy. So shitloads of value in going to that link rather than booking a call with me, quite frankly.
Yeah. And actually,
I'll just sit and drink beer, eat biscuits if I rock up on a call. We'll have a laugh, though.
Nice. Yes. Perfect. Okay. Awesome. And is there anything they can subscribe to for you? With you, do you have a newsletter, a YouTube channel, anything like that?
Well, as you join that kind of process, actually, there's an opportunity for you to join my newsletter if you want to. I'm available on LinkedIn. I know we're also on other channels today as well, but feel free to drop me a message if I can help you anyway. What about you, Michael? What are you working on at the moment?
Good question. So I've been mixing things up recently. So I have been running productivity pods in the morning, but this on April 8th, I'm actually going to be running a productivity pod in the evenings. So for 9 Tuesdays in a row at 7 p.m, we're going to be running a productivity pod. And the pod is about you come with an idea. So something you need to build for your business, whether it's working out how to come live on LinkedIn, build a newsletter, set up your CRM, a dashboard, whatever it may be. Most things I think can be done in 9 weeks. My favorite story is we had a guy who came to us. He wanted to put a new website out for his business. He thought it was going to take him 6 months to build a website for his business. And with the productivity pod, we actually did it in 6 weeks because we kept him focused on what he needed to do. And it's just about each week having incremental gains and getting things out into the world. So if you have an idea that you can't get into the world, and we're a quarter of the way through the year already, which blew my mind when it dawned on me today. Actually, you need to put some focus and you need to put energy into it. And that's what the productivity pod's about. It's about getting those habits right to create things into the world. So That's the exciting thing I'm working on. And people can drop me a DM if they want to find out more as well. There's my YouTube channel, which this will stream out onto. And I've also got a productivity prod, which is my fortnightly email. It's not a newsletter. Out into the world with all my productivity tips, and there's always something free in there. There's an offer, and there are my musings on the world of productivity.
Nice, very good.
Nice. So that is everything. Adi, thank you very much for your time. It has been a pleasure. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, AC, as well, for all your comments. Have a brilliant day.